Selecting the right name is one of the most important decisions you can make about developing a new product or starting a new company. But instead of choosing a name based on just what you like, consider the following 5 criteria of good brand names. Number 1, a good brand name should be easy. The brand should be easy to pronounce, easy to understand, easy to spell, easy to find. You want your name to engender trust and be shareable, not to create uncertainty or confusion. Today's customers are not going to spend their hard-earned money on products or services that they just don't understand, and they're not going to spend their precious time trying to figure out a name. Number 2, your brand name should appeal to your core customers. A good brand name should be relevant and compelling to its specific target audience. If you try to appeal to everyone, you'll probably end up with a kind of generic, unmemorable name. So be clear about the type of person your brand is for and who it's not for, and then decide on a name accordingly. For example, a fun, clever name might be a real draw for creative people, but would turn off more serious, discriminating customers. A good name should also position your brand. The name doesn't have to spell out your brand positioning or be a literal description of what you offer. Fast Shoes, for example, would have been a boring name when Phil Knight first started at Nike. But by naming his company after the mythical goddess of strength, speed, and victory, Knight was suggesting what he was offering and its unique value. Criteria number 4, differentiate. This is related to the last point about positioning. A good name should differentiate your brand from competitors. Try not to use a common naming convention or a name that sounds similar to other choices that your customers have. Most banks, for example, use geographic cues in their name, like Northeast Bank, so that they're predictable and locatable. But Orange Bank is distinctive and conveys some personality. Choose a name that stands out and is clearly memorable. And 5th, adapt. A good brand name should be adaptable to different applications. Consider how your name will work when it's spoken out loud, printed in text, rendered in a logo or other visual treatments. Also be aware of how the name translates into different regions or even languages if your business calls for it. And finally, think about how adaptable the name may be over time if you think there's a chance you'll expand your brand into new products or new categories. Now, in addition to these 5 criteria, there are also some very practical considerations to keep in mind when selecting a name. For instance, it should be available for trademark, and a URL should be available as well. And these days, since your name will likely be used in social and mobile applications, the shorter the name, the better. But don't worry if some people don't like your name choice. 10 years ago, many people derided Apple's choice of the name iPad, but look how well known and established that brand name is today. And remember, whatever you choose, selecting a brand name is only the first step. Then you must use it consistently and associate it with a unique and valuable experience. That's how you create a breakthrough brand name.